Welcome to the Drive Network. I am your host, Big Bucks. The Drive Network is a podcast that's driven to inspire you what the good people around your neighborhood drive and do for a living. Biggy, my boy, what's up? Long time no see.
Bucksito,
Thank
lovely
you
to be here,
so
brother.
much. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you for
making
having
it,
me,
Biggy.
mate. Thank you.
I think, let me get straight to business, Biggy. For me, first and foremost, is that Bucky, the Hilux. For me, I think I want to tap into your thoughts. I know you're a man with many talents. And I must tell you at home, guys, this is a man with many talents. Make no mistake. But I'll let him tell you about his many talents as we speak. But for me, yeah, why the Hilux? Why the Hilux?
So generally, like you said, I'm a man of many talents and I need to move a lot of things around. So I was looking for a reliable workhorse. A reliable workhorse in the sense of you can get the job done reliably, you can pull the load, you can get me from A to B, and it's fuel efficient. And then I also had in mind that if I buy this bike when I need to upgrade or sell or whatnot, what will hold the future value? And that's when I went to the Hilux. I mean, it was an easy decision. I didn't go for the 2.8, I went for the 2.4 as well because of fuel economy. And literally, it's a workhorse, and that's why I got it. And it made it easier. It's not my first choice bike, but
I know.
I had to make a decision at the time.
Yeah. And I think I'd like to really tap into that. I'm never too technical when it comes to cars, but I know, I know previously you've had a Ranger.
Yeah.
And that move for me was almost like it's a move to the obvious choice or the obvious mindset when it comes to Buckies. You find these Bucky guys that say, Toyota, Hilux, you go wrong, you don't go wrong there. And for me, I was like, okay, Big is doing it, and I trust your your ideas or your move and stuff like that. And I'm like, but is it really? Because now it's a good comparison because you've had both.
Yeah. So I've had two Fords before. One was manual, 3.2 as well. Then I had the 3.2 all-track automatic. And then at the point in time when I had to change Buckies, I think I was looking for another Ford, but in that space and time, financially, I couldn't get an automatic. My wife can't drive a manual. So that's what drives my decision as well.
Yes.
So then I went to the Hilux. Luckily, by that time, the facelift was also coming out.
Yeah.
So that pulled me a bit.
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing towards it. And then I bought the Hilux. So it gets the job done. But when I have to literally, honestly pour my heart out, it's not a Ford. It's not a Ford. Comfortability-wise, I always say, I mean, if you think luxury and you think saloon, you think Mercedes. Just off the top of my head. But I feel like when you drive a Ranger, you're driving a V300D in a form of a Bucky. And it can still do the job and you still feel like it's a performance car in the form of a Bucky. And I mean, I drive a Hilux, but I'm not really happy.
Thank you for that, Biggie. And all you Hilux guys, all you Toyota guys are listening to Biggie. It's not everything. It's not all about Toyota. I'm a Ranger guy. I'm a 3.2 guy, and I'm happy. I'm satisfied. I'm not complaining. The comfort is there. But let me not digress, Biggie. I think for me, the juicy part is, yes, you drive a Hilux, a Toyota, you're a busy man of many talents. I want to tap into that space because these talents, the traits that you have are the ones that affords you this type of Bucky. And you know, for me, it's beyond the Bucky. It's like, what is it that you do? And I know there's a lot of guys that want to know. And guys, trust me, man of many talents. But what is it that you do?
So my formal business, I say my formal occupation is I'm a sales manager in the animal feed space. Our company is called EPOL. We are part of Rainbow Chicken. I'm a sales manager there. I've been there since 2014. Love what I do. I work with a lot of farmers. I like the part where I can take a farmer from a small scale farmer to commercial or assist the commercial guys to supply continuous meat to the South African nationals or South Africa as a whole, as a country. So that's what I do as a formal job, and luckily at work they allow us to tell or to say what other things we do, and they don't have issues with that as long as you're not in direct competition. So I own a company called Biggy Small Spit Masters, as you can see on my top.
Trust me, you want to taste that. Trust me, you want to taste that. But
so
anyway.
This originated in 2017, where I used to do spit fries for my friends at Touch Rugby Sundays, and then one day one of my mates was like, "No, Biggy, we abuse you every month. You're doing spit fry mahala from a business."
Do something.
Then I registered a business in 2017, and since then, man, it's been booming. I think if it wasn't for COVID, I may have been full-time into it because 2020 was a big year for me. I had big plans. And then COVID came. I think also it came as a blessing because it helped me think of my company in a more sustainable way. So
Absolutely.
I to then the core business is the braai business, but then I also do fine dining. We do meat supply, we do spices, we do sauces. So that's where now my mind started playing. Like if people, because if you think spit braai, you think masses. You won't call me as a family of 10 and say, oh, we want a spit braai.
Yeah.
Some do and we still do that, but mostly it's like when you have a family gathering, large gatherings, and with COVID, you couldn't have that. And that's where I started tapping into, as a self-taught cook myself, I started tapping into fine dining. How can I take a braai element and make it more appealing for someone to want to have a 7-course braai menu? So I looked into that, and that started working. And besides the biggest small spit masters, I have a beer oil company called Nguni Strength. I haven't launched it as yet because, just busy working on my recipes and still testing my own product. But it's there and it's patented and it's registered.
That's great. That's beautiful.
Yes. And I also part owner of Mhlongo Kitchen, Mhlongo as a whole. We do wonderful food there, and we're going to be on Uber Eats. I'm sure by the time this airs, I'll be on Uber Eats.
Oh yeah,
so that's a big milestone. That's a big milestone for me. And just and recently formed part of a company called Kauri Africa. Kauri meaning ceramics. It's the most commonly spoken language in Africa, which is Swahili. So it's a ceramics company where every plate you can find in the restaurant is made by us, genuinely made by us. The factory is in Johannesburg, out in Sochern in Lazonia. And that's one business I'm very proud to be formed part of. And hopefully one day I wouldn't need to work this hard, but I'm doing it because I love it. And everything I do ties together. That's it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like I said, man of many talents, right? And to I think to back that up, he's forgetting something else. I think you're forgetting one of the things you do. It might be partially or whatever, but you commentate, my brother.
Yeah. So I'm a freelance commentator also in super sports.
Forgetting.
I did a lot of work. I think after COVID, that's where they downscaled a bit, so I wasn't getting a lot of airtime. And the last sports games I did I think I did a game last year. So this year I haven't worked at all. Don't know. As a freelancer, you wait for them to call you.
Yeah.
So hopefully that opportunity will still arise. I really love doing it. Maybe it's also someone else is given a talent, because super sports is always looking for fresh talent, and they have different angles. They know what they're doing. When the call comes again, I'll definitely answer it and do it again. Yeah.
I think you mentioned COVID, and I think if there's anything that COVID has taught anyone is to try and diversify in your business. Because as much as COVID affected a lot of businesses, some businesses were doing really well in COVID. So it is a diversification thing. And I think with you, COVID cannot touch you. No. COVID could not touch you. No. So, but I think normally on the show, I think I would then tap into what is it that you've done to be what you are. And for you, it's a multi-question because you're doing so many things. And I can't ask you, what have you done to be a sales manager? What have you done to be a commentator? But maybe just give me your journey of tapping into these different talents. What is it that you've had to do to be in these different fields? And I think to diversify your talents.
I think, to be honest, I'm able to do what I do because of my mom. Why I say that is my mom worked in the kitchens while I was younger, but since a very young age, I could remember my mom was making vetkoek and buns and selling it to the factory workers. So wake up in the morning, she sells, and then she starts her day, she goes to work and whatnot as a domestic worker. But there was a time where when the schools were closed, I think from an early age of, let me not lie, I think 11, when schools are closed, my mom would make me vetkoek and mince, and I'd walk around in town and go through every business and I'll sell. My mom still has a book of where some people will take the whole month and pay me at the end of the month. My mom still has that book. So because of how my mom never had a formal job. She's been either a domestic worker or she does a lot of sewing, she does baking, she does that. Because of how I saw her being able to do a lot of things diversely. And my mom also saying that she has a saying that says, never look like your problems. It always gave me the drive to say, let me try this. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, we try something else.
Yeah.
So, when I was lucky that, in high school, from grade 10, from the legal age in South Africa, you can start doing some work from the age of 16. There's the local garage in my town in Malalan. Mr. De Villiers gave me the job, vacation work as a petrol attendant. So I was an assistant petrol attendant for about 3 years, from grade 10 up until matric. After matric, I went to varsity. First varsity failed. I won't mention the name, but they're very known for F7s. And then I went back home, played a bit of rugby. Second varsity failed because I think I lost my dad in 2008, and that's when I was in matric. Yeah. No, all good. That's when I was in matric, and I think it was the wrong timing, because you come from a small town, you come to the big city, and it just swallows you. I got lost in the vibe, I got lost in the lifestyle, and I didn't focus. I was lying to myself. So even when I went home after failing my first year to a different institution, I was playing rugby for the Pumas then, it was still the same Martin, spiraling around, not taking life seriously. Up until it got to a point where my mom said, listen, if you don't fix your life, I'm sorry, there's nothing else I can do for you.
Yeah, and that's when done everything.
Yeah, and that's when I applied to NWU. I first applied to Porsche. I wanted to go to the rugby institution.
Yeah.
They said, unfortunately, they are full, but we can give you space in Mafikeng or Vaal. Then I thought, okay, let me go to the Vaal, still close to my friends at Wits, still close to my sister who was at Wits as well. So I went to NWU Vaal, and I mean, that was a blessing in disguise. That place is so tranquil. It was a good environment. That's where I met Big Bucks, Baxito. And then, yeah, I changed my mind, because my mom just asked me, just do one thing. Just get a degree. Done. And after that, we'll see.
Yeah.
So what I then did, while I was studying, I was lucky then to get vac work at a local hardware. So vacation, I'll go to the local hardware from second year March holidays. I would work there. Then in my third year, in June, the owner of the hardware was like, we'd like you to, after varsity, come and be a trainee manager. And I think it was just a title, but they gave me a lifeline.
Yeah.
So in my final year, they also assisted in some of my expenses at school and whatnot. And after finishing my degree, I went straight in and I worked there. But I worked there for 11 months. But okay, I had contractual agreements where when I left, I had to pay them money. But so that's how I got into the current company I work for. I sold a nail and a hammer to one of the sales executives.
Wow, look at that.
And then in the next week, I got a call from the firm saying, we want your CV. So I went from being in the hardware to being a shift supervisor, you can say. And back then, shift supervisors were abantu abadala, abubaba. They've been working there for years.
Yeah.
I come in as a 23-year-old, now I'm a shift supervisor. They gave me a tough time. But then I worked shifts. I was shift supervisor. I did that for about 11 months again. And then the thing is, you get things like shift allowances and you get a lot of money. And as a young guy, bought a car, credit card. Because of working shifts, your life with your peers is not in sync.
Yeah, it's not
when
aligned,
they are partying, when you're at work. So every time I could party, I was literally doing it. And then I ran up a credit card bill. Then came a time where I also thought of my life, I can't be working shifts, man. Literally, was 7, you come out of work, you sleep, back to work at 4. I'm like, no, it's not my life. I actually spoke to some HR people there. I'm like, guys, I appreciate what you guys are doing for me, but I don't think I add value in the current job that you're giving, that I have. And that's where there was a position opening in the buying department. And then I was able to go to that job. I took a salary cut of about 4K. Because I wasn't getting the shift allowances and overtimes anymore. Yes. And I'm just working Monday to Friday. But I think it gave me a bit of stability. But Nakhona, it gave me a lot of free time, because buying, you can't buy without a request. So now literally some requests is you must buy water. They put it on the system, click water, delivery date, wait to consolidate month. And so I really had a lot of free time. Yeah. And then the sales position in Pretoria opened, where I also applied for that. So now I studied BCom Sports and Recreation Management. I wanted to do marketing, but because I chose the wrong maths in grade 10, I did literacy. Yeah. But I got 98% for my literacy in matric, and I think that's why they allowed me to do a BCom. So I'd say, because I added a bit of subjects, I added accounting, I added economics, I did this, I did that. That's why I'd say when people ask me, what's your degree? I'll say formally it's called Sports and Recreation Management, but I'd like to say International Business and Marketing Management, because those are the things I added.
They're integrated in your
Yes. So the sales position came about, and you had to have an animal science degree. I don't have that.
Yeah.
But the same sales exec that I sold the hammer and a nail to, he gave me books. He said, you have 4 months. He gave me books. He said,
Get
"Go,
ready."
Get ready. He's not even part of the...
Opportunity.
Yeah, he's not even part of the interview process. So they called me to Pretoria for an interview. I went there. There was the GM, there was an HR lady, and there was another sales executive, people that I don't know. And then here's the interview. They asked me questions. And I'm shaking. They asked me about horses.
A
They
big
asked me
man
about
like
this.
you.
Yeah, when I was shaking, interviews are never nice.
No, man, I rock up there, I'm sure my muscle. Scared for what?
So I have this thing, this technique I use when I get nervous. I always tell my people that I put myself in third person. So I have an out-of-body experience. So I go into such a thing where I'll tell myself, I'm Denzel or I'm Samuel L. Jackson. So that the nerves are sitting here.
Sitting there.
And then I'm just flowing. But yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I think that day it did work. I answered their questions and they're happy. And then a month later, I started working in sales in Pretoria. And since then, I was building from technical advisor, which we call a rep, whatever. And then I became manager of 3 provinces. And then we re-strategized and I became manager of the Gauteng business. And wherever our bags go from
Manager
the Gauteng
of the
business.
hub, man.
Yeah, yeah. So I got into that. But then my love for food, my passion for people, I think also drove me to do the Biggy Small Spit Masters.
Absolutely.
Because for me, it's not really about the cooking of the food, but it's what I love hearing after people taste my food.
Yeah.
And that's what kept on pushing the drive of saying, I want to do more. I want to develop more flavors. I want to try and see if I try that, what will happen. And every time I get the opportunity to serve, I get more and more positive reviews. And this thing keeps on pushing me.
It's great business.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at it now, you do great food.
Mate.
And for me, why not? The personality has always been there.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I take it back to where, believe it or not, I orientated this guy. I used to make them look down.
Hey,
So
Bugs, he gave us a tough time.
I'd like to believe I was the nicest, but
Always kept it cool.
yeah, always kept it cool.
Yeah.
But for me, the personality was always there.
Yeah.
And I promise you, even from that group,
Yeah.
there was something special about you.
Yeah.
Even from that, I mean, we had how many first years that came through.
Yeah.
But from the entire group, there was something special. And I think for me, that's a key thing. That's a key ingredient. And I think from your story, it's a great story. And it just gives me that it doesn't matter where you come from.
Yeah.
You know? What really matters for me is where you're going. And,
Yeah.
and you've pushed beyond these boundaries. And I don't know. I can't add. I can't ask you anything. But for me, I'm really inspired.
Thank you.
And I want the guys from home to also take that from your story to say you can do so many things. You're not limited.
Yeah.
And you living proof, my brother.
Thank you.
Living proof. And as much as I was before you guys, I went through working business before you guys, but I'm really inspired, and for me, I really want you to see you doing big things.
Thank you,
and you're going there.
Yeah,
and we're gonna go do a drive.
Yeah.
And we're gonna cook for the people.
Thank you. So my current GM uses the analogy of saying progress before perfection, and that's what I'd like to also use when you want to try something. But it's always easy to link passion to an idea, because now if it starts failing, your passion will drive you to just push it a bit further to test and see if it will work or not. Because sometimes you might give up and you're literally just at that tipping point and you're like, it's not working.
One last
and
day.
the passion will be like, do it. And then when it tips, man, it starts rolling down. So, I mean, you have to try. If you don't try, you wouldn't know.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's one thing I live by.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, one thing for the guys at home, if you had to tell them anything, what would that be?
I'd say I read someone's status that says go for the jugular, and I mean I'd say go for it. That doubt you have, first do your calculations. So for me, I don't like risk, but I like to build attachment to a risk.
Okay.
So by that I mean if I have to start a water company, I wouldn't go make a loan. I'll rather take my own salary and supplement it, because now I've built attachment to this thing. If it fails, I've lost money. So I saved, like Biggy Smalls, I saved. I used to hire spit fry machines and then got to a point where I started owning my own. So go for the jugular. Don't overthink it. Do your calculations. If you get a hint or a gut feeling that it might work, go for it. And don't give 10%. You must give 5,000%. I'm telling you, it will be worth it. And if it's a venture that's not sustainable in the long run and it has a lifespan, then it is what it is. Then you go to the next thing that you must try. But you would never know if you don't try. That's
Biggy,
one thing I can
thank
say.
you ever so much, my brother. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you, brother.
And I think at home, give it your all. 100% is a limitation. Give it 5,000%. And don't you go there being jealous at this brother. He's got so many talents. I think I've always said, Biggy, in life there's two versions of being jealous. There's negative jealousy and there's positive jealousy. Negative jealousy, somebody sees someone like you, they go do nasty stuff, evil stuff. Positive jealousy, you learn from your talents, you learn from what's happening in your life, and you take that to inspire you. You know, we all have different journeys in life, and I am ever so jealous in a positive way. And I'm happy for you, my brother. A lot's gonna happen for you. We're gonna do a lot together as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, brother. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, bud.
It's your boy, Big Bucks, with my boy, Big Biggy.
Yeah.
I thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.
Peace,
Thank
we
you.
out.